would like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional, unceded, unsurrendered territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people. Welcome to the Sharing Circle podcast. My name is Arno Kaplan, and today we're welcoming Miriam Slessor, Indigenous Intern at BGIS. So hello, Miriam.
Hello.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
Yes, thank you for having me.
So Miriam, can you tell me about your background, who you are, and what brought you here at BGIS?
All right, so obviously my name is Miriam. I am a Ojibwe from Alderville First Nation, which is a part of the Williams Treaty and located near Rice Lake, just under 150 kilometers east of Toronto. So I am currently the Indigenous Recruitment Intern working predominantly under Julie Matthews. And I
Okay.
was initially connected to Julie through a friend of mine who was a part of the Indigenous internship last summer.
Okay.
Though I wasn't brought on until the beginning of November, which made me kind of the last of the interns for this round before we go into the next one.
Okay.
And yeah, I was really lucky to be connected in such a way. And yeah, I really do think this intern with BGIS is perfect for me in this part of my life, this point in my life.
Good. So you began in November, you said, and are you staying until is there a fixed moment or?
Yeah, so end of April, I got an
Okay.
extension approved,
Okay.
which kind of just helped with the new crop of interns, I guess, coming in. So I'll like my last day is like just I think under a week or just over a week before the new interns start. So yeah, end of April is my new end date.
Okay. So like a good 5 months with us. That's good.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. And in human resources then.
Yes.
Okay. So tell us a bit, what does a typical day in an HR intern look like at BGIS?
A typical day for me is, well, I kind of usually split it into two parts of the day, so the morning and the afternoon, as I find that I usually have two tasks that need completing at a
Okay.
time, usually by the end of the week. So in the mornings, I'll like focus on a project with like the more strict deadline, most likely a form of content creation for recruitment and the like, which then allows for me to kind of dip into the second half of the day if
Yeah.
necessary. And then the second half is usually used for like more I want to say lax, but less strict deadline, like writing articles relevant to internships and recruitment, indigeneity, and like corporate environments. So that's kind of how that's more of the outreach part, I guess, because those will get posted on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And, I try to get engagement with that and, connect with the people that I have on LinkedIn and hopefully spread the word.
Yeah. Have you noticed things that maybe organizations do well or could do better when it comes to the recruitment of perhaps Indigenous employees or being so first being like the recruitment of Indigenous employees. Let's talk about this first. Did you notice any things about this?
Yeah, I really noticed, like, I've been here for a couple months now. I just noticed how much effort goes into the recruitment of Indigenous employees. And it helps that I'm a part of that, being the Indigenous recruitment intern and all. So I'm seeing firsthand the amount of care and consideration that goes into it. It's something I really appreciate about BGIS specifically, as I find, I mean, a lot of organizations are getting better at that, but not as many are open to the perspectives of First Nations, Métis, and Inuit employees and like what that can bring to the equation. Um, I think this sort of brings me to what could be done better in like the corporate environment. I think there's still a very narrow view of Canadian indigeneity. For example, I grew up pretty blonde and white looking, but also still Ojibwe. And so in the early
Yeah.
2000s, where being native to most non-Indigenous folks still meant like stereotypes and Pocahontas's primary representation, my identity was secondary to my whiteness. To some folks, it didn't even exist. So that sort
Mm.
of pushed me to hide that part of myself from like preconceived judgment. And in the process, stopped being native for the convenience of others and what I didn't understand at the time was I should have been doing the opposite. I should have been loud and proud about my identity because that would show, at least to some folks, that indigeneity is not a monolith. And perhaps with this understanding, it would open up a larger conversation about how indigeneity is experienced differently depending on the person and their specific background. And I would want that to hopefully spread to how organizations understand and conduct Indigenous recruitment.
It's very interesting. So you said, but have you seen? So you've seen an effort from a company perspective and a corporate perspective on
Yes.
these interviews. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's really nice to see that I did, like how much effort goes in. I mean, I also see it firsthand, like I said, because I'm kind of in the thick of it. But
Yeah.
I think not a lot of people do see what is being done and how that is being improved upon, and keeps improving, really. I think with the new set of interns coming in, I've really helped out with that, and it's been really great. And I think at the moment we have the full amount, the allotted amount, which is really great. It's only end of February and we already have that. So it's just really, impressive to see how much effort so far has been going into that.
Can you tell me what are you hoping to get from this internship, both professionally and personally?
I can already say that professionally, this internship has given me the opportunity to see how much work and effort goes into the recruitment process, which I mentioned sort of beforehand. I've been working since the age of 15 in predominantly people-facing roles, but I've never done it in a corporate setting. And so far, I think this internship has done a great job of showing me the differences and how to conduct myself in a more professional manner, I would say. And that kind of goes hand in hand. And like personally, I think it just helps me understand how many people are coming into this, like in interviews and so on and so forth, and just different experiences through like that these people are experiencing. And just, the amount of, sorry.
Okay.
Just the amount of differences you see in just the everyday and
Yeah.
the potential
The
employee.
potential. Yeah. You finish your studies, you want to go back. Where do you see yourself in the coming years accomplishing professionally, and where do you want to see maybe your career go to?
So yeah, I talked about wanting to go back to school. I would really love to get my master's. I
Okay.
went to university. I got my bachelor's in English literature from Queen's University. So
Interesting.
I would
Okay.
really love to be able to go back and yeah, get my master's. And I also have a really big interest in creative writing. So I think in the future, I definitely see myself working on my own novel and kind of getting that done and, hopefully published, kind of on the side. And right now, like work, like regarding work, I don't have a specific objective. I think right now I'm really, I don't want to say relying, but hopeful in going back to school.
Okay.
And I won't really know exactly what to do beyond that, I think, when it comes to my career. But I
Okay.
think when it comes to like hobbies and specific goals, it's definitely, getting the master's and perhaps, writing some more, which is what like this job has really helped me with is keep up my more
Yeah.
like concise professional writing. So that's really helped and that will help obviously in my degree.
That's amazing. Writing and it's really good. Maybe like a journalist or writing stories, as you said.
Yeah,
It's
we'll
great.
see.
Yeah.
I'm just letting the wind take me wherever.
Yeah, no. Best of hopes for you. I'm sure the future reserves you some beautiful surprises.
Yeah, hopefully.
what advice would you give to another young Indigenous person considering an internship like this?
I would say just don't be afraid to just go for it. I think with an internship like this, there's a lot of opportunity to pursue different fields of work and to test the waters of the corporate field, I would say, which helps, you decide what kind of career you see for yourself in the future. And for example, though I'm working in recruitment, which is very, like, I find very admin and content creation focused, I'm also able to do some writing, like I've mentioned, as a part of my job as well. So, being a English literature major while at university, it helps me keep those skills from getting rusty outside of school. And it
Hmm.
kind of keeps, you know, my different options open, I would say.
Okay,
There's a lot of opportunity, I think, in this type of internship. So yeah, just don't be afraid to just go for it. I think you know, they're always looking for different perspectives, different experiences to bring to this position.
that's great. And this is how you got to, like, the internship. Like, you yourself, you applied on it. You heard about it from a friend of yours, and you just applied on the position, and then you're here now.
Yeah, yeah. A friend from university, she was part of the first or the last summer's round. So she
Yeah.
reached out. She was like, I know you're looking for a job. Here's this. And it was kind of a feat to get here just because the timing was a little awkward at first, but
Okay,
eventually we did get here. So yeah.
that's great. Go for it. That's nice. Is there something you want to tell us about employers and what they would like when they're in this? Is there a thing like what do you, sorry, I reformulate. What do you wish employers understood better about interns?
I wrote an article about this on LinkedIn, so
Okay,
forgive me if I repeat some points from that. I think
go for it.
for from an intern perspective, I think the internship functions temporarily, and these shorter terms can often push a candidate into like a very small box, and it's hard for them to move outside of that. And obviously, some might argue that that's the entire point of the internship, that they do their one role and they're
Yeah.
part of that one thing.
Hmm.
But I find that can really trivialize like an intern and like their
Hmm.
responsibilities and overall how they operate in the workplace apparatus. And I think at its core, an internship doesn't solely benefit the trainee.
Hmm.
It's a two-way street.
Yeah.
So a company can provide the opportunities and provide that development in a young person's career,
Hmm.
and in turn, they receive the new perspectives and the fresh ideas, and it creates a rapport between like an intern and their superiors, and allows for that exchange. And I think you're never going to get the same perspective um, for an intern. Like it's going to be different every time. And I think
Yeah.
you know, being able to utilize that and foster that environment where interns can like express their ideas. I think that's where I think
Yeah. Great.
employers could understand more so about interns.
Yeah. Like giving the intern the freedom to try on initiatives too, because as you said, maybe the internship role is never or rarely clearly defined. So the intern must be able to, it, like as you said, it's a two-way street. At the same time, the intern has to show initiatives and
Yeah,
show the manager or the boss that you're able to take more than what you are given as
yeah,
tasks. But in the same time, the employer perhaps must be able to give the necessary freedom for the intern to um, have a great time and feel productive and useful. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not to say that like employers like undermine interns.
Mhm.
It's more so that like I think it could definitely be approached with a wider like lens. I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, interesting. And there's like an artistic sense to what you're saying. So, okay, good. Well, thank you very much, Miriam.
Thank you.
And take care and good luck for your internship.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.